What's up, YouTube? It's your friendly neighborhood JM Comics 01 here, with the top 10 Spider-Man movie villains. Before the video starts, remember to like, subscribe, and comment your favorite Marvel or Spider-Man villain down below. Also, Venom is eligible for this list, like his villains, but don't expect to see Riot here. Okay, this is a bite-sized short also. It's a new series I'm starting where I do bite-sized videos, and I'll make a separate playlist for it on YouTube. Now, without further ado, let's get right to the video. At number 10, we have Dr. Octopus from Into the Spider-Verse. Dr. Olivia Octavius became the Dr. Octopus in the Ultimate Universe and worked for the Kingpin, putting her at odds with the Web Warriors. When the particle reactor turns on a second time, she gets hit by a free-falling truck. Nice. As a villain, she gets a small amount of screen time, but for a henchman character, she succeeds at being both entertaining and light on story. Her reveal also took me by surprise, as it probably did many comic book fans. Number 9, we have the Prowler from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man's uncle, Aaron Davis, secretly moonlights as the supervillain The Prowler and works for the Kingpin. After learning that Miles is Spider-Man, he has a change of heart and refuses to kill him, leading to Davis's death. Like Octavius, Davis didn't get a lot of screen time, but when he did, it was impactful and emotional, even if you were a comic fan and knew he was the Prowler. At number 8, we have Sandman from Spider-Man 3. Flint Marko turns to a life of crime after his daughter gets sick and he needs hospital money. After a jailbreak, he fell into a reactor, binding his DNA with sand. He made a great villain in a movie with bland narratives and the horrible personification of both Venom and Spider-Man. Like the Peter Parker dance, that thing, nasty. The only bad part was his connection to the murder of Ben Parker, as it felt like an excuse for him to personally tie to Spider-Man. At number 7, we have the New Goblin from Spider-Man 3. After losing his dad, more on him later, in the first film, and finding out his best friend, Peter Parker, was Spider-Man and responsible for his dad's death, Harry Osborn becomes the Green Goblin, like his father was, to get revenge. In the end, however, he sacrifices himself, fighting alongside Spider-Man. His character arc is great, and one of the few beacons of hope in arguably the worst Spider-Man movie. And personally, I hate Spider-Man 3. It's worse than The Amazing Spider-Man 2. That's my opinion, so disagree in the comments. And number 6, we have Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home. Special effects artist Quentin Beck and a legion of disgruntled Stark employees, of course Iron Man did this, always Iron Man, form a ruse on the world, creating the superhero Mysterio and creating false, dangerous scenarios, putting civilian lives in harm. When Peter Parker comes across him on a field trip, he initially joins the so-called hero before finding out his true colors. While Mysterio has a great design, his reused Vulture backstory and lack of a main motivation make him a confusing, not mysterious, MCU villain. But overall, pretty solid, man. Nice fishbowl head. At number 5, we have the Lizard from The Amazing Spider-Man. Dr. Kurt Connors is a brilliant scientist who was born without one arm. He studies lizards with the hope of harnessing their regenerative powers to heal his arm. After developing the serum, it turns him into an anthropomorphic lizard, and he hopes to use the serum on all of New York City. His trainee, Peter Parker, discovers his plot and thwarts it, but Connors kills Peter's girlfriend Gwen's father. As the only villain from the Amazing Universe on this list, the Lizard made for a decent origin story villain, but nothing more and nothing less. At number 4, we have the Kingpin from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Wilson Fisk, crime lord Kingpin, loses his family in a car wreck and blames his archfoe Spider-Man for leading them to their deaths. It's always Spider-Man. He builds a particle reactor to steal his wife and son from another universe. The Kingpin is both emotionally and menacing. The Kingpin is both emotional and menacing, killing off the ultimate Peter Parker early on in the movie. His murder of Peter Parker helps to show Miles' true strength in the movie's climax. This dude's a little unit, respect. At number 3, we have the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. Norman Osborn is a smart and powerful owner of Oscorp, at least until his board of directors try to kick him out. Desperate, he injects himself with an experimental serum, turning him into a maniacal psychopath, similar to the Joker, and murderer with a glider. At the end of the movie, he accidentally stabs himself with his glider, leading to a story arc in which his son, Harry, becomes a new Green Goblin. Norman Osborn set the standard for all Spider-Man villains on the big screen to come, and he set that standard really high, but a few villains did even better than Osborn. At number 2, we have Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2. A runner-up is Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus, played by Alfred Molina. a genius professor who develops a new type of energy which is highly unstable, and the power source binds mechanical arms onto his brain. In the same incident, he loses his wife Rosie, officially driving him mad. Good job, man. He then gathers materials to build a new energy source capable of powering the universe, but after a few showdowns with his former mentor, or mentee, Peter Parker, including an awesome train sequence, he comes to his senses and sacrifices himself to save the world. GG's in the chat. His character development and tragic origin make him not only one of the best Spider-Man villains, but one of the best villains in any superhero movie. And at number 1, we have the Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming. This dude's like a legend. Adrian Toomes was a former member of a government damage control agency. There was going to be a damage control show, but they canceled it. Sad face. After Tony Stark develops his own damage control, Toomes loses his job and ultimately the way to supply his family with money and goods. So Toomes steals some alien tech from an Avengers fight and creates a weapon manufacturing business that sells to supervillains. When teenager Peter Parker discovers Toomes, dubbed the Vulture for his bird suit, he makes it his goal to defeat him and prove himself to Iron Man. In a climactic twist, Peter finds out that Toomes is the father of his crush, Liz Allen, or Liz Toomes, and defeats him once and for all. Toomes was the greatest Spider-Man villain that we'd gotten since 2004, and still managed to improve upon Doc Ock, offering up great action, suspense, and big twists. Michael Keaton's also Batman, so that's a point. Also, check out other videos, and let's continue to hate on Riot.